Today's lesson is going to be on factoring trinomials in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. So to start off with, I have a review question here. X plus 3 times x plus 4. So it's a binomial times a binomial, so we can use FOIL. So we're going to start off by multiplying the first two terms. So x times x is x squared. And outside would be x times 4. That would be a positive 4x. Inside would be 3 times x, so that would be a positive 3x. And the last two terms would be 3 times 4. That would be a positive 12. Then we combine like terms. 4x plus 3x would give us 7x in the middle. So we would have x squared plus 7x plus 12. That is in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. So if you hear me talk about the c value, it's that constant value at the end, so in this case 12. If I talk about the b value, it's the coefficient in front of the x in the middle. In this case, it would be 7. So when we're factoring anything that looks like x squared plus bx plus c, we have to look for factors of c. So what can we multiply together to get the c value, factors of 18 in this case, whose sum is 9. So factors mean multiply. So what can we multiply together to get the c value of 18 that we can then turn around and add together to get an answer of 9, which is our b value. Okay, so c and b. So what can we multiply together to get c that adds together to get b? So go through your list of factors of 18. I can do 1 times 18. I can do 2 times 9. I can do 3 times 6. Now, if I add those together, I would get 19, 11, and 9. We are looking for the b value, because remember, this was giving us the c value. This was giving us b. So multiply together to get 18, add together to get 9. I'm looking at this pair of numbers. So how do I write my answer? I'm going to have 2 sets of parentheses. X and x are first, and we have a positive 3 and a positive 6. And it doesn't matter. You can write x plus 6 first and then x plus 3 in the second set. It really doesn't matter for this, this section on factoring. It will on the next one, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. But for now, it does not matter the order that you put them in. So what you notice is we are giving you the answer to a multiplication problem. You have to figure out what was that problem. So we're moving backwards. Okay. So factor each trinomial by guess and check. Okay. What can we multiply together to get 24? That's going to add together to get 10. Well, 24 would be 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. Which one of those, which set can I add together to get that 10? The 4 and the 6. So 2 sets of parentheses, x's to lead them off, and I have a positive 4 and a positive 6. And that would be my final answer. Okay. 7x and 12. So what can I multiply together to get 12? That's going to add together to get our b value of 7. Well, 12 is 1 times 12, and 2 times 6, and 3 times 4. So out of those options, the 3 and the 4 would add together to be 7. So I can do x plus 3 and x plus 4. Now we're going to throw in some negative numbers. So The sign of B tells you whether the factors are positive or negative. When B is positive, the factors are positive. And when B is negative, all the factors are negative. So remember, B is the one in the middle with the x. It's the coefficient of the x. So when that is positive, we know that we're going to have positive answers. Oops, we know that these are going to be x's. So what can we multiply together to get 12? That's going to add together to be 8. Well, 2 times 6 would give us 12, and 2 plus 6 would give us 8. So we have a positive 2 and a positive 6. So especially when they're all positive, you probably aren't going to have to make a list of your numbers to look at if they're smaller like this. If you need the list, go for it. All right, now the B is negative. So we know we're going to have to work with negative numbers. So we're going to have x minus and x minus. Now we got to figure out what those two negative numbers are. So two numbers are going to have to multiply together to be a positive 6, but then add together to be a negative 5. So in order to multiply together and end in a positive, we have to have two negatives. So our factors of 6 would be 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. And they're both going to have to be negative in order to be add together to be a negative. So 2 and 3, negative 2 plus negative 3 gives us negative 5. So we would have x minus 2 and x minus 3. This one, our B value, 13, is positive. So both numbers are going to be positive. Factors of 42 would be 1 times 42, 2 times 21, and 3 times 14, and 6 times 7. So which ones add together to be 13? The 6 and the 7. So everything's positive, so x plus 6 and x plus 7. And then we have another B value that's negative. So when B is negative and C is positive, we have to have two negatives. So our options are negative 1 and negative 40, negative 2 and negative 20, negative 4 and negative 10, negative 5 and negative 8. So which ones add together to be the negative 13? That would be the negative 5 and the negative 8. So x minus 5 and x minus 8. When C is negative, the factors have opposite signs. So the sign of B will tell you which factor is positive and which is negative. The factor with the greater absolute value has the same sign as B. So when C is negative, we are going to have one of each. So we have to have factors of 15 here. So 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. The factor or the B value is positive. So that tells me that when I add my two numbers together, when one's positive and one's negative, in order to have a positive left over, the bigger number has to be the positive. So the smaller numbers are negatives. So then which set can we add together to get a positive 2? Negative 3 plus 5. So we would write x minus 3 and x plus 5. So we're going to have one of each. Okay, positive 8, negative 6 in the middle. So factors of 8 would be 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. In order to have a negative here and a positive for the C, they're both going to have to be negative. So I can add negative 2 and negative 4 together to be the negative 6. So we would have x minus 2 and x minus 4. And our last one here, both numbers are negative. Factors of 20 would be 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. So in order to multiply together to be negative, we have to have one negative, and then add together to be negative. The bigger number is going to be negative this time. So which set can we add together to have a negative 8 left over? That would be this one here. 2 and negative 10 would be negative 8. So we have a positive 2, so x plus 2, and then x minus 10. And if you're unsure of your answer, you can always go back and FOIL your answer to see if you end up with the problem that was given. And always check your work on these.